What have you been streaming lately, Destiny? You used to do a lot of politics talk. Are you still?
Yeah, I still do. That's my bread and butter. And then League of Legends, a god awful game, but generally
I feel like politics, in the same way that baseball is just not as good without the Yankees in it, politics isn't as good without Trump in it. Thoughts?
I mean, he definitely had that entertainment factor. I mean, he was a reality TV show star, right?
Entertainment factor, and I don't know that he was always entertaining. Makes it sound more calculated and purposeful. You know,
you can have a retarded kid that is doing some dumb shit over and over again and it's entertaining. That sounded bad. I shouldn't say that. But you can have if I be mindful of my audience, you can definitely have entertaining stuff where the person's not trying to be entertaining, but they're very fucking funny to laugh at. I think Trump picked up on that pretty well.
We'll see. I'm really interested to see how the next.
I want him back. I want him to win. I want Joe Biden to have. Here, look, first of all, when I say these things, you should all know that I mean them from the bottom of my heart. And second of all, that in no way do I think any of this is good for me or the country. I just think it'd be fucking funny. I want Trump to go against Joe Biden again. And like I said I did this before this last cycle. I think my dream, my monkey paw wish was that like Joe Biden have like a complete meltdown and like not have a senior moment, but have a senior campaign where it slowly degenerated to the point where he literally shit his pants on a stage and like it was, and there was no question that he's like made a boom boom and like pointed at his pants. Like I wanted that level of meltdown. And for Trump to also be a complete train wreck with all sorts of stuff coming out, but because his opponent literally pooped himself, like he just falls ass backwards into the presidency again. I would love that to happen. I don't know what happens to Kamala Harris during all of this. I don't think I'm allowed to.
I think everybody, around the world is wondering what the next presidential election cycle is going to look like.
Destiny, who do you see coming out of the primaries?
I don't do any of that. Some people will like obsessively follow people through before. I just wait until
I think that's less interesting topic anyway. The most interesting side to me, shockingly, is the incumbent side. It's does he come back and try to go again? Does Kamala step in? Does she run? Or do they look for somebody else on the bench on the Democrat side? Like there are people there. There are popular people there.
Even if Biden was dying, I don't think you ever throw away your incumbent advantage.
They asked him. They asked him if he was going to run, and he was not like, "Oh, absolutely, yeah." He was like, "Well, you know, if I feel as good as I feel today, then he was yeah." And they were like, "Would you like to? What if it's Donald Trump?" He's like, why would I say no to that? Oh, now you're getting me excited. Yeah,
he definitely came across as iffy. But if you remember during the primary cycle, I think, or maybe it was after he won the primaries, he said he wouldn't run again. He actually said that resolutely. So it seems like he's going back on it, and it's like
that's likely what he means. And this doesn't seem like one of those things where like it's a big deal to do 4 more fucking years of this in another campaign. Like, sure. I bet he bows out. And
no
so
way.
Like.
It's just bet? To throw away that. Do I want to bet on whether he doesn't run again? Do I get to say barring any major health issue or no?
No. That's what edges me in.
Well, if he dies, he's obviously not going to run again.
Yeah, that counts. I win in that case.
You know what? I'll do a friendly $100 on.
Oh God!
Holy shit! That's high stakes around here.
We bet pennies here. Yeah, I'll do it.
I didn't know if you were gonna bring out because sometimes we're like, oh, $5,000. You know, at least okay. Yeah, I'll do $20. $20 if he'll absolutely.
Even 20 is 4 times higher than our standard.
$5.
We can absolutely do $20 that Joe Biden does not run for president.
Okay,
I think that's the bet. Yeah,
gotcha.
I don't think he will, and I'm really interested to see who they go to because like, God, Bernie is ancient. Kamala is very unlikable, I think, within certain groups that they really need to bring along.
Can I pause on that? It almost doesn't matter what you think or what I think. The data is what it is. She is unliked. She's the most unpopular vice president since they started polling that. I don't know when that is. Pence was more popular. So she's a very weak candidate.
Yeah. So, and then you've got Hillary, of course. There's so many bad answers to this question on the Democrat side. That's what's really interesting. And I don't quite know who the good answer is.
I like Buttigieg, but I mean, the numbers are in. Not everybody does.
Yeah, I think he has a real issue with African Americans.
And he comes off as an elitist, kind of, I think. Like, you're trying to get To the yeah, absolutely. They made a huge deal during. Oh wait, I thought that was in response to me, but it was something else. Sorry. He made a face, but I guess something happened in the background. Yeah, I think the Democrats are definitely aiming more center leaning, because that they have ran off in some cases in their messaging so far to the left that it's alienating a lot of different types of voters. And you're starting to see now where Hispanics are becoming less and less a guarantee for the Democratic Party, and minorities in general that were like a sure Democrat vote are, even though nobody likes to talk about this, they're a lot more socially conservative than a lot of white people in the Democratic Party. And I think you have to be mindful of stuff like that, because these votes that were surefire votes, the black vote still is, the Hispanic vote, absolutely not coming into this next election cycle before the presidential one, which is scary.
In my head, the Democratic Party has not distanced itself enough from the overweight 24-year-old purple-haired cunt who virtue signals and tells you that you're bad about everything. And that, to me, is almost like the core of the party's brand. You know, some fat chick shaking her hand in the air saying, you're racist, you're a white male, you're this, you're that. And everyone's like, fuck you. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. And you're acting like I'm a dick. That's the Democratic Party. That's their perception problem.
There's definitely a perception of too much focus on social issues, but worse than that, which I would say is there, although definitely like a YouTube, like 2016, we saw a lot of that. The two really big ones were ACAB stuff and defund the police, and the socialist rhetoric. A lot of brown people coming from South American countries are not as hype on fucking socialism as you, a fucking college student at UCLA is, okay? You've never had to fucking eat a rat, okay? When your whole family's savings is wiped out.
Because paid a bill.
Yeah.
You liberal arts college student, carry on.
Yeah, so the socialism shit does not run well with a lot of immigrants coming from, a lot of brown people coming from South America.
Or from anywhere that is socialist.
Yeah. Unless you're getting these 80-year-old people that are, you know, reminiscent of the past, or, you know, like Eastern Europe or parts of Russia sometimes. But that's generally not very well. And then also, believe it or not, and I know it's hard because a lot of white people online have never talked to a black person before or talked to a brown person before. They actually don't want a bunch of fucking crime in their neighborhoods. These people do call the police if shit goes wrong. Like, they actually do like police in their neighborhoods when they feel like shit is fucked. And that ACAB messaging and shit did not play well with minority groups.
You said ACAB twice, but I don't know what it means.
Oh, like defund the police. ACAB stands for all cops are bastards. These very hard line anti-cop measures that were trying to be passed in cities. And then when you pair the fact that like a lot of cities scaled back on police stuff, and then the pandemic hit, and then crime started to rise, a lot of those policies 180'd so hard, and it looked so bad for that group of people that were all like, get rid of the police, defund the police, abolish the police. And yeah, it just is a really bad look for the Democratic Party, I think.
And I feel like it hurts them more than the Republican.
I don't like the all cops are bastards thing. Taylor was explaining this to me the other day. He was like, cops are like Nazis. Not every Nazi was a bad guy. There were some great Nazis, Taylor says. There were some wonderful. Who's your favorite Nazi, Taylor? You were saying Goebbels, right?
I think I said too many to choose.
That's it.
I think that's how our conversation, our real conversation went, right?
Yeah.
Is the defund the police thing mainstream
trainloads of them
rhetoric now?
Too far.
I don't think so.
It did. So this is what I always thought, because I used to tell myself so much, like, this is online shit, it's white Twitter kids, who the fuck cares, blah, 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 blah. I said that for so long, for so many years. And I think back in 2016 it was. In 2020, it absolutely was not. That defund the police stuff, that was like a front and center. That was there was one lady in Congress, the phone call leaked, and she was screaming because her constituents were calling in with fears about, like, they're going to get rid of the cops, and people are trying to make everything socialist, like, actually, and they're saying socialist and stuff. And I do think that those messages went very, very mainstream, especially on the backs of all the BLM protests and everything too. And then Democrats were also
but you're
really
saying
insensitive.
defund the police is mainstream.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Yeah, for
I
the
call
last
bullshit. No, I like Biden, for example, is the leader of the Democratic Party, and his position is very clear.
Correct. It was a more moderate one, but like, you got to look at like Minnesota. I think the state, literally had it on their ballot to like abolish their police department,
and it didn't win. So Minnesota, the state, had a failing idea. We cannot call that the mainstream of the Democratic Party.
I'm not saying that it's the mainstream of the Democratic Party, that the politicians believe it. What I'm saying is that it was pushed enough in social media and in activist circles that became the perception. that the Democratic Party wants to abolish police. The majority of the politicians, absolutely not, because that didn't.
And the people. The people and the politicians don't want it, but there is a loud minority that talks about this.
But that loud minority used to be only on Twitter, to where if I were to go in real life and ask a person, like, what do you think about Marxist-Leninism? They'd be like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But nowadays, if I go and ask somebody, like, what do you think about defund the police? Like, no, the Democrats want to get rid of the police. I know they do. I don't like that. Like, it was making it into a lot of mainstream conversations off the backs of the BLM protests.
To me, the Democratic Party has a perception problem where people associate them with defunding the police, for example. But they don't have a reality problem. The reality is Democrats are like me most of the time. You know, they're kind of in the middle, not looking to be stupid like that. Not overly woke, not any of that.
Yeah, but the big problem that you're getting is that people in one of those, and multiple problems, but one of the big problems you get is that people in very safe blue districts can afford to be very, very left-leaning, but they have a national microphone. So people in, Montana hear what AOC says, and they're like, oh, like she speaks for the Democratic Party. It's like, no, she's never going to lose an election ever. Okay,
you're agreeing with me.
Yeah, I agree. It's just it's an unfortunate problem because when it comes to politics, perception is reality because people vote on perception, and that's all that matters.
It's happening on both sides because of the gerrymandering. The safe blue and the safe red districts. The Republican politicians that I hear from are Matt Gaetz, Madison Cawthorn, Donald Trump, I guess.
Who's my girl? Who's the blondie from Georgia? The crazy one with the gun ads.
That's not Lauren Boebert.
She blows cars up and shit. She's great.
Who's the one? Magic the Gathering. Every time I see her name,
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That's her. Yeah,
she can't just take MTG. Magic has that. That's not fair.
That is true.
That's my involvement in politics.
Anyway, she's another one, MTG, that gets all the airtime, and she's a lunatic from the right. And I'm sure there are a vast majority of people on the right are more sane and probably agree with me on a lot of stuff. Her, on the other hand, all she wants to do is call masks face diapers and say the vaccine is bullshit. And
she's got memes too.
I mean, like most people are just normal people like you. Like
she put a video of herself doing pull-ups saying this is my anti-COVID vaccine. But the thing is, her form was terrible. She was doing CrossFit
I saw that. Yeah, she was doing the kipping pull-ups, which you can't
vote for that.
Like if you're
I hate socialism.
A kipping pull-up, it's its own
CrossFit
workout.
Is where I draw the fucking line.
Yeah.
Why? You should go dominate.
CrossFit? Oh my god, it looks dangerous.
Just go see
how often I'd get injured if I did CrossFit. It'd be all the time.
Yeah.
Have you seen the way they clean and jerk? Just throwing their spines to the wind. Like no rigidity. They're just as fast as they can and then run to the next
I should try kipping pull. I don't know that I've ever done that, like just sort of rotation style pull up.
What's it supposed to do, like, as a difference from regular pull-ups?
I don't know.
It's real fucking easy and it looks stupid.
If you go to failure, I bet it's exhausting.
Everything.
I'm sure. Like, you're still doing a ton of moving.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like you go to failure reading a book, you're going to be exhausted.
Touche. All right.
That's what I did. I go to failure reading.
Taylor thinks he's the retard on this show, but low key, I'm taking his spot.